48 hours, we got a first look inside Trump's new migrant detention center called Alligator Alcatraz. The jury in the Diddy trial already reached a partial verdict. The DOJ announced the largest healthcare fraud takedown in US history. China had the world's first robot football match and it ended terribly. And something real strange is happening in Portugal. We're going through all of that and so much more, so only if you subscribe, I will stop the yapping. You done it? And let's go rockin'! Okay, so starting off with Trump, of course, because there's not a single day that has gone by this year without the president doing some crazy stuff. And today is no different because we've finally got the first look inside Alligator Alcatraz and woo! It looks pretty wild. Now, located in Florida on a mostly abandoned airport, this facility was constructed in just 8 days. What are they, China now? Now, the idea for this facility is to relieve pressure on federal immigration jails, which I guess are just filling up right now. And why they're calling it Alligator Alcatraz is, remember that Trump wanted to reopen Alcatraz? Well, obviously, that didn't exactly happen for a billion different reasons, but he's now got his option B Alcatraz. So if any detainees make it past the 30-foot walls, razor wires, and armed guards, they then got to make it through the surrounding Everglades, which are filled with alligators, of course it's in the name, crocodiles, pythons, and whatever the hell else lives in Florida. It's like America's version of Australia. But, I mean, put those 10 New Orleans escapees in there, they'll find a way. Trust me. Now, it's designed to hold up to 5,000 migrants. Damn, 5,000. It holds 5,000. They made it in just 8 days. Maybe they are China now. And they said that this facility will, quote, encourage illegal immigrants to self-deport. So that's like just scaring the shit out of them. Florida's Attorney General said, quote, nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. I mean, the freaking White House themselves posted this picture saying, make America safe again. It's just a meme account at this point. Now, the prison will reportedly cost around $450 million a year to run, and it's being criticized by some groups as an environmental threat and a political spectacle. But what do you guys think? Is Alligator Alcatraz a W or an L? Moving on. Okay, now we have got some absolutely massive news on the Diddy case. This is the one that we were all waiting for. Just a few hours ago, he was found not guilty on 3 of the 5 charges. And what makes it crazier is that the jury found him not guilty on the most serious ones as well. That means for the prison sentence, everyone thought, yo, bro's doing life for sure. Well, it turns out, no. It's a likely sentence of just a few years. The absolutely maximum for the charges that he's been hit with is 10. Absolute max. And apparently in the courtroom, as they were reading out the verdicts, it just exploded. So here's how they went. Racketeering conspiracy, that's the one that could have put him in jail for life, not guilty. Sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura, not guilty. Transportation for prostitution of Ventura and others, guilty. Sex trafficking of woman known as Jane, not guilty. And finally, transportation for prostitution of Jane and others, guilty. Reports say as the verdict was read out, Diddy remained stoic, hard to read, staring straight forward, and beforehand he was praying with his kids, he was hugging his lawyers, and the judge, in anticipation, knowing shit was about to go down, he instructed the courtroom and the overflow, look guys, remain orderly. But they didn't listen. Apparently, it just exploded with noise as each verdict was being read out. And in the end, the jury, they actually only deliberated for about 13 hours. And the day before, they actually came to a partial decision on day 2. They just couldn't decide on that racketeering one, but I guess they now have. But it doesn't stop there. It gets even crazier because in a stunning turn of events, Diddy, by the time you're watching this, he might walk free today. That's because after all of the verdicts were read out, his defense then immediately requested the judge to release Diddy on bail and then they suggested a $1 million bond. And $1 million for Diddy is like, chump change. And guess what? The judge is considering it. He has now adjourned the court and he's asked for letters from both the prosecution and the defense to make their case, and he'll go away and weigh up the arguments. How insane. You know what? The first thing that came to my mind is that Brian Steele has done it again. Who is bro? This is the same lawyer that got Young Thug that insane verdict by, may I just stress, claiming that Thug stood for truly humble under God. We got a real life Saul Goodman. That like, what a wild year. Real life Saul Goodman.
If you're committed enough, you can make any story work. I once convinced a woman that I was Kevin Costner, and it worked because I believed it.
Now, apparently the bail decision is going to be made in a few hours, so it could be made by the time you're watching this video. Obviously, I don't know. So Alex, maybe it'll be in your time. Is he going on bail today or not? Very interesting. And also the actual sentencing for how many years he gets in prison, that's been set for a later date that we don't know. But here's the thing that I find the most crazy is, like, regardless of what the jury have heard in their decision, Diddy is guilty in the internet's eyes, you know, regardless. So when he gets out of jail, which he inevitably will, him having to get back onto like social media in the public realm, it is going to be like an O.J. Simpson type thing where everyone was kind of like, yeah, well, the court decided, but we know. So I don't know how he's going to integrate back into the world. He might just become the biggest meme of all time. I think he kind of a little bit is. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Put it in the comments and I will move on. Now, this next story could have ended so tragically, but it didn't because of the father's massive freaking So yesterday, during a Disney cruise from returning from the Bahamas down to Florida, a 5-year-old girl fell overboard from the 4th floor after she was put on top of the railings for a family picture. What the hell? Who does that? But according to those at the scene, a savior was in the mix, and the father didn't hesitate for a single second to jump straight in after her, risking his own life as well. Now, once he got to his daughter, because remember, this cruise ship was going fast, so they went back like immediately. He got to her, he held her head above water, and he waited for the rescue teams to arrive, which they did. But why so many people are saying that this is such a miracle is because falling off a cruise ship often ends in death. And if that father even hesitated and he didn't jump into the water when he did, the girl would have most likely been lost. So, bro better be getting the best Father's Day gift in history. Alex, would you do that, actually? If Leaf fell, how many seconds would it take for you, Alex? I'd like to know. And actually, pause one more second. What did you get in your last Father's Day? Moving on. Also, hot off the press today, Trump just announced on Truth Social, hot off the press. What are we in the 1800s? Hot off the Truth Social. All right, we'll just say that. Apparently, Trump said that Netanyahu has agreed to a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza. I mean, my first thoughts when I saw this was, how long did the previous one last? But Trump claimed that Israel has agreed to the necessary conditions and that the Qataris and Egyptians have worked very hard to help bring peace, and they will deliver this final proposal to Hamas. He wrote, I hope that Hamas will take this deal because it will not get better, it will only get worse. Now, Hamas has previously said that they are, quote, prepared to agree to any proposal if the requirements for ending the war are clearly met or if it leads to its complete end. Netanyahu, on the other hand, has previously said that he insists on, quote, complete victory over Hamas before ending the war. So he either believes that complete victory has been achieved, or it's just more hopium. But what do you guys think? Is this just more false hope? Or will it be different this time? And then also in the last couple of days, we've got some pretty disturbing updates on the man behind the tragic shooting of those 3 firemen in Idaho. So we now know Wes Roelly, only 20 years old, has been identified as the suspect. We also now know that he intentionally started that fire to lure and ambush these servicemen in, killing 2 and seriously injuring 1. Shortly after the attack, Roelly was found dead in the mountains in an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. But the thing is, his motive for why he did this, still a bit of a mystery. Reports say that he desperately wanted to be a firefighter himself, that he was living out of his car in the months leading up to the shooting, and that he even had previous run-ins with the law. However, apparently these were minor issues like trespassing and some welfare checks. His family said they have no idea why this happened, or they don't understand how this came about, but his former roommate described Wes as going downhill leading up to the attack. So maybe it was a complete mental health breakdown, or something far more planned and sinister. We don't know. But if we do find out more, I'll keep you updated. Moving on. He's talking about absolutely wild designs. What are they calling art in New York nowadays? So this bright pink art installation is supposed to be this giant leg and foot, and for some reason this giant leg and foot squirts water out of the top when someone cycles on pedals few meters. Like, again, what am I supposed to describe this to you as?
That's a penis.
And also, who approved this? Who looked at it and said, that'd be fitting for a public installation? I mean, it's also got tongues sticking out of a foot and a leg with bright red toenails.
I mean, look at that thing right there. What the hell is that thing? You think you're gonna see that kind of thing at school?
It's just weird. And unsurprisingly, it's caused a lot of controversy. Some say it's outrageously inappropriate for public spaces, which I guess you'd only say that if you interpreted it as something else. But others said it's just a innocent tall sprinklers that looks a bit wacky, and kids love it, and it draws attention and conversation like all good art should.
That's what pedophiles do. They deny it's their bread and butter.
What do you think? Cool? Inappropriate? Or an abomination? Moving on. Alex, what do you think?
You ask a lot of questions, Morty.
Because I also want to talk about something arguably even stranger than that. Look at this shit. It looks like Portugal is about to be hit by a freaking world's largest tsunami. How are they all just so calm? I'd be sprinting. But it turns out it wasn't a catastrophic tsunami. It's just one of the rarest weather events on Earth. Apparently they're called roll clouds, and they form when cool, dense air slams into warm, humid air. And this collision apparently causes the warm, dense air to spin upwards, creating this beautiful horizontal rolling cloud that you see here. And apparently it's super rare, like especially in Europe. So if you're there, it's probably one of your only times in your life that you'd see it. And like, to be fair, Europe is having pretty intense heat waves right now, which I love to be able to cover in this, but maybe Friday's video. But moving on, because finally, China. Woo! What are you doing out here, man? They have actually launched the first ever robot football league in Beijing. Man, and this feels like a scene straight out of freaking WALL-E. But here's where things get interesting, because what makes this actually very different to other robot sports is that all of these robots that you're seeing are autonomously moving around with AI. No one's controlling them. And maybe that's why they're so damn bad. Like, watching it, they can barely kick it, they can barely dribble the ball. It kind of looks like United last season. Sorry to all the United fans out there. One of them had to be stretchered off the field after they fell. They fell and they couldn't get up. However, the founder of this robotics company said that this is just the beginning. They're gonna be a lot better soon. He said that their abilities will quickly improve to the point where they can take on human teams. Yeah, he just said that. It's all right. We got Mbappe. You're not making a robot better than Mbappe. But that is about your news roundup. You feel all caught up with everything? But also, I want your guys' opinion very quickly. Let me know in the comments if you prefer these like rapid fire. I'm hoping this is gonna be like 10 to 12 minutes on Wednesday and Friday. Or do you prefer the single topic deep dives that, you could really get invested in? But let me know what you guys are feeling for Wednesday and Friday's episodes. But with that being said, thank you so much for 800K. The population of the empire is 800K now. That is fantastic. I love every single one of you, apart from the ones that disrespect, which I just whip, but I love them too. I beat out of love. So, love you all, and I will see you on Friday. Woo!